The top assassin who once killed a president is now mistaken for a thief by a farm owner. Jackal wants to resolve the situation with money, but the man is Hungarian and doesn't understand English. Worse, Jackal's sniper rifle is now in the man's possession. In this situation, whoever has the gun is the boss, so Jackal has to play along for now. Fortunately, the man isn't uninterested in money and calls his brother and English-speaking nephew to come and extort Jackal. While waiting, out of boredom, he insists Jackal try his homemade bread, giving Jackal a chance to escape. Having learned from the sniper rifle's lack of firepower, he takes a shotgun instead. By now, the police have likely surrounded the area, and a shootout seems inevitable. But Jackal didn't expect the farm to be so poor, with no useful equipment and no fuel in the car. As he's switching to another vehicle, a horn sounds outside. The farm owner's brother has arrived. While they enter the house, Jackal desperately turns the car key. As anguished cries come from inside, he quickly ducks down. The car finally starts, but he doesn't dare look up, resulting in crashing into a tree. It seems he'll have to eliminate the troublesome people first. The man cautiously approaches the car, and as he opens the door, a gunshot rings out from below. Jackal, back in assassin mode, pulls the trigger again without emotion. The man's son stumbles out, but he only has a stun gun, which seems ridiculous against a shotgun. Considering himself doesn't speak Hungarian, Jackal spares the son's life, thinking he might help avoid police checkpoints.
Let's go. We're driving.
Being forced to drive at gunpoint isn't pleasant, but the man has no choice. Looking at the birds in the forest, Jackal desperately wants to complete this last mission and live a normal life. But he's unfamiliar with Hungary, and the only person he can rely on and trust is his girlfriend Mary. Jackal calls her, saying he's in a bit of trouble and asks her to bring his disguise tools from his room. Mary, still believing he's just a corporate spy, prays for his safe return after this job. The man helps Jackal bypass police checkpoints and reach the city. As an experienced assassin, Jackal shouldn't have shown mercy, but something the man says saves his life.
You have good man face.
Say that again.
You have good man face.
The words are touching Jackal's heart. He too once wanted to be a good person. A painful memory surfaces. In Afghanistan, under military orders, he had to massacre civilians. Perhaps since then, he could never be a good person again. Jackal orders the man to put his hands on the steering wheel, still hesitating whether to shoot. Looking at the family photos on the man's phone and thinking of his own newborn child, Jackal ultimately breaks the assassin's code. He only threatens the man's family to ensure his silence about today's events.
Cannot trust you.
Yes.
Cannot trust you.
Yes.
By the time the man recovers from his shock, Jackal has vanished. Later, Jackal contacts his employer from an internet cafe, assuring her he's out of trouble and the mission will proceed as planned. He warned her not to try renege on his paycheck like that asshole before her. That evening, Mary arrives in Hungary with the disguised tools, meeting Jackal in a small hotel. She expresses interest in watching Jackal's disguise process to understand her boyfriend's work. Jackal doesn't refuse. In a way, disguising is similar to Mary's makeup routine, except he usually makes himself look uglier to avoid attention. Hours later, Jackal transforms into an old man in a wheelchair, wheeled towards the terminal by airport staff. He passes right by Bianca, easily avoiding police checks. After all, who would suspect an old man in a cast? However, MI6 has learned of his mission location. Bianca urgently changes flights, coincidentally seated right in front of Jackal. Fate can be strange sometimes. Upon arrival, they both take taxis and check into the same hotel. Jackal considers eliminating this troublesome woman preemptively, but assassinating an agent before the mission would surely alert his target. After weighing the pros and cons, he decides not to complicate matters. Just as he removes his disguise, there's a knock at the door, police doing a routine check. Jackal calmly states he's on a business trip and his ID and passport are flawless, but the female officer senses something's off. Her intuition tells her this man isn't simple, so she tries calling Jackal's phone number. As the phone rings inside the room, it's clear Jackal hasn't lied, and the officer has to let it go. Once the police leave, Jackal immediately begins preparing for the assassination mission. The contact information he got from the security guard earlier now comes in handy. With an assassin's keen eye, Jackal has noticed the guard's unusual sexual orientation. For his final mission before retirement, he doesn't mind selling his body once.